What is adventure? Adventure is an exciting or very unusual experience. It is a bold undertaking with an uncertain outcome. So, first day of our trip really.
This is the Takla
on a 4x4 track too. Looking forward to it.
Today we find ourselves surrounded by friends at the start of a great adventure that only a year ago would seem impossible. Perseverance pays off though, as we set off with support from subscribers like you and some of our sponsors to explore the Old African Ivory route in Limpopo.
It's been a nice weekend so far. It's nice and it's interesting. Thanks, boys.
Our first destination is Blouberg Nature Reserve. As the name suggests, elephants initially forged the African ivory route, with hunters, poachers and traders hot on their trail. The route marks their migratory paths roughly from the Waterberg, east across the Soutpansberg to Makuya Nature Reserve, adjoining the Pafuri or Northern Kruger, then south down the park's western side. Stocking up on wood, tying it down. Got to make sure the wood's really tight. These stratchets that I've got are absolutely magical. A lot easier to use than a ratchet strap, and I'm convinced they might not be as strong, but pretty much as strong.
Looking at the GPS, the route promises to be an easy 3.5-hour drive. Little did we know, the term road could only be loosely applied to the R561.
Stand by you.
So on very rough roads like this, vehicles and trailers are taking an absolute smashing. We're just stopping and checking tires and suspension. It's like 35 degrees and the road is absolutely shocking. So yeah, always good just to check.
In the true spirit of adventure though, we're eventually rewarded with one of the most scenic dirt roads you've ever seen.
Just driving through these amazing areas. We don't even know where we are. The Tracks for Africa app on the iPad says we are 44 kilometers away from Blouberg, but the mountains and we look like we're meandering into a valley here. This is magical, absolutely magical. So we took a nice relaxed morning in camp. We were pretty knackered last night and we're just cooking up some diced bacon with some chutney in it, just as a sort of brunch, not really breakfast, not really lunch. But I think this afternoon we're heading for a game drive, so sort of our first game drive for the trip. Can't wait, but let's enjoy this bacon.
Good to be back in the car, good to be moving forward, and good to be on an adventure. Let's see what we see.
Situated in the low veld of northern Limpopo, Blouberg Nature Reserve's main feature is a beautiful mountain surrounded by a lush bushveld. Besides scenic game drives, the sunken hide at Buffelspan provides a really intimate viewing experience. Water is one of the fundamentals of life. No more is this true than around the African waterhole. Waterholes are often the only sources of water for kilometers in the dry season. These usually make ideal game viewing spots as animals congregate here. we're going for a game drive, or really up to the lookout point. It's a 4x4 track, but the view is quite spectacular from there. There are a few 4x4 tracks at Blouberg, the lookout point being one of the highlights.
Blouberg Nature Reserve is a very pretty nature reserve. They've got a lot of nyala trees, a lot of acacia. It reminds me at sometimes it feels like I'm driving somewhere in Botswana. Yeah, so very, very beautiful. Nice anthills and then trees growing out of the anthills. Big trees, big beautiful nyala trees. We were supposed to go on the other route to get up to the top, which is a little bit more scenic, but they've closed that route off. So we're running along the fence here. There's two giraffe on the other side of the fence.
A neighbouring game farm.
On the neighbouring game farm, you heard what Chris just said there.
So gents, what do you think about the drive up here?
Hey, it's awesome, eh? Not too technical, a little bit narrow in some parts, but wow. So the first little bit was very rocky, but then you sort of get on top of this plateau. Absolutely awesome. Sun's coming through the clouds, the view spectacular. We've all got coffees, magic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, what's quite lucky is they put concrete to assist, so I would imagine that in the past, if after it rains, I think it could have been a challenging route, but yeah, nothing too bad. What's really lacking now is if you have a look over there, there's God rays coming through the clouds, which looks epic, man.
Chris, you enjoying the trip so far?
Yeah, very much so, mate. Weather's been a little bit off the last few days, but really pretty out here. Glad to be out here.
One of Blouberg's other significant features is its baobabs, so I reckon it was time to go and check them out.
Privilege to be parked under such an amazing tree. Wow. The African baobab, one of the symbols of Africa, and definitely one of my favorite aspects of Africa.
The idea of Overlanding Escape started over a year ago, as is usually the case in overlanding, poring over a map.
So Overlanding Escape is the culmination of 3 channels. So EdwardBath Overlanding, 4x4 Ventures and Get Out Go. I'd say it's everything about overlanding in a nice actuality program that brings you entertainment, good information and some reviews.
Safe to say our stay at Blouberg was absolutely amazing. But early the next morning sees us heading out to our next destination, Mapungubwe National Park. This is supposed to be another short 2-hour drive, but we know better by now.
Morning, we're on our way to Mapungubwe National Park. We're going to take it slow because the roads are really bad. Potholes are massive. So today we'll be using Trucks for Africa. We don't really have signal for Google Maps, and I find that the Trucks for Africa app is more accurate.
It actually looks exactly the same as between Maun and Southgate. There's the similarities. It looks 100% the same.
Loving it.
Check-in for the Mazhou camp is at the main gate, on the eastern side of the park. The park is divided into 2 separate sections. Mazhou is a quaint tent-site sand parks camp with ample charm.
Great to be here. The roads from Matamba was horrid. That R561 specifically,
Shocker.
I mean, there's no road left, you're driving on the shoulder.
Resemblance of like monopools, or that trip from Maun to South Camp is very similar, hey?
Yeah. Very foresty on the western side. On the eastern side it's in stark contrast because you've got these rocky outcrops, you've got baobabs. It's really different. Parks are obviously separated, so you can either go via a not so great dirt road or back on the tar to join the two sides.
Right, morning. This is morning 1 at Mazhou campsite in the Mapungubwe Game Reserve, and I just got to say, it's probably one of the most closest campsites to Botswana that I've ever stayed in South Africa. It's on the Limpopo River, and the Mazhou campsite is what seems just outside the Mapungubwe Reserve, or just on the fringe of it. The Maluchwa hide is only a few minutes away from the Mazhou campsite. With a little patience, early morning or late afternoon, you'll certainly be rewarded with some amazing sightings here.
I've always been interested in birding and wildlife, so I did the birding courses. I know a fair number of birds and wildlife. I've been going to the Kruger since I was this high, so yeah, I've always been interested in wildlife, and I've always enjoyed cameras and just taking photos. I can't remember the age I got my first camera, but I just started taking photos and then saved up to get my first DSLR, and it was a Canon 450D with a 75 to 300 little kit package, and I used that for many years just for photos, obviously no video. The early morning and the late evening light in these places is just magic, so I just enjoy driving out there and doing that. And yeah, obviously I enjoy wildlife. I enjoy trying to interpret the elephant's behavior and just watching them chill around the waterhole. And yeah, so I think being behind the camera I do it for enjoyment. I don't feel like it's a job.
A stay at Mapungubwe wouldn't be complete without visiting the main eastern side of the park. Here, you will find a landscape in complete contrast to the lush Inyala forest surrounding the Mazhou campsite. Rocky outcrops, long stretches of Mopani veld with a few scattered baobabs. Two highlights to visit include the treetop boardwalk and the confluence point where Shashi and Limpopo meet. Magic.
Looking forward to cooking up my usual potjie, but a bit of sad news really. I heard this morning, well actually I started hearing it from Blouberg Nature Reserve first morning. I heard a bit of a metal on metal knock inside the vehicle underneath. So the plan is Monday we drive through to Musina and hopefully we can get a mechanic to have a look at it and advise what the issue is. Hopefully it's a quick little fix and then we can carry on the journey. But yeah, we'll find out then. These things happen, I suppose.
Our last camp together is Makuya Nature Reserve, around 240 kilometers from Mapungubwe.
So I started overlanding as a result of what my dad did. So growing up in Botswana, he was a hunter. So I would go on his trips into the Delta and those sorts of things. And I think just the prep, the planning, the initiating, the packing, all of that sort of stuff started for me from a very, very young age. Maybe 10 years old. And I think that's what's ingrained in my DNA. I think I'm still chasing those sorts of moments that I shared as a youngster. And I'm trying to relive those so that I can instill them in my little ones. Well, that's the hope anyways.
We have left Mazhou campsite in the Mapungubwe Reserve and are now en route to various locations. Ed and Chris are going to carry on through to Messina, gather some supplies, and then carry on through to Makuya. I, on the other hand, am doing a 2.5-hour drive to Polokwane.
We fuel up at Messina. Nearest fuel stops to Mapungubwe is either All Days or Messina. This is the first time any of us are visiting Makuya, and expectations are high as this is a bush camp on the banks of the Luvuvu River adjoining the Kruger National Park.
Suddenly the going gets tough, with narrow rocky roads with some sketchy, steep, off-camber sections. This makes for interesting driving with the trailers. Signboards and GPS coordinates to the camp are non-existent. Follow the signs to the picnic site. Fortunately though, our off-road trailers were more than up to the task at handling the worst that Makuya could throw at us.
How's the road to the campsite, Chris?
Oh, it's quite rough if you're towing a trailer. There's some rock steps. It's not too technical, but it's quite steep and there's some rock steps, so you have to be careful with the trailer.
While Chris and I set up camp and get the fire ready for dinner, we're forced to concede that Ryan wasn't going to make it to Makuya that evening.
Okay, so we've got an hour and 10 minutes to go to get to Makuya. Went into Polokwane today to get the Ranger looked at. Everything seems fine. I couldn't find an issue. Excited to get there. There's not much sun left. It's 2 minutes past 5. I have no idea where the campsite is. I'm following Google Maps and I just turned off the tar road and I'm now on a road that doesn't look like it's been used in quite a while. The adventure is afoot and I'm excited, man. This is what it's supposed to be about. Take a road you're not sure where you're going. Just hit the hitching point of the trailer. I'm
I'm racing the sun, because if you can imagine, this only gets me to the gate. There's still a road more to get to the campsite. My word, that looks proper. Okay, so we've just had to engage 4 low. There's quite a proper challenge here, and I'm doing this with the trailer, obviously. Now, so I've got to just take it really carefully. This is something else, eh? Okay. Now, gotta watch. There's an edge here. Okay, I think we're through the worst of that. There's a very heavily eroded little donkey or donkey cart route. I mean, there's off-axle moments. And you just gotta watch that trailer, hey? Sure. Okay, we're getting somewhere, I think. The distance is not closing on the map though, which is worrisome. So I'm trying to go as carefully as I can, but at the same time, I'm racing the sun. Oh, these moments. This is how you create memories. This is why we do this. Fantastic, man. Absolutely fantastic. So after a massive screw up by Google Maps, if I just stuck to the tar road, I would have got to the gate. And the 10 minutes it took me to do that horrible Google Maps stuff up, the gate is now closed, and it's 10 minutes past 6. I've asked the ladies here, there's a little village next to the gate. I've asked them to please try and help me out to get in. Yeah, what an adventure, eh? This is why I do it, eh? Magic, absolutely magic. This is it. So let's see what happens. Just met a really nice lady. She opened the gate for me, and now she's going to draw me a map because apparently it's quite difficult to get to. But yeah, we're in the Makuya Reserve. The bushveld is something else, eh? Absolutely something else. Such a contrast to where we've been. But yeah, this is the gate. Okay, so we are in the Makuya Nature Reserve, and the sun has just gone down. I've got all the spots on because I can see the road a lot better. So if there's an obstacle coming up, then I can slow down in time. I'm not going fast, 20 kilometers an hour. And shame, a nice lady at the gate named Mandla, she let me in. Obviously I haven't registered to come into the reserve, so I've got to shoot back tomorrow morning and just register in to the reserve. Look, it's not legal to drive around in reserves at night, but yeah, this is a game of catch-up for me. The road is not too bad, but it's definitely 4x4, and in some parts it's quite a challenge. So yeah, just taking it easy and looking forward to getting into the camp. Mandla's given me directions. I don't know, she says drive this road straight 9 kilometers. I saw a turn off back there. I don't know if I was supposed to take that turn off, but 9 kilometers, look for the sign picnic site, and I should get there. So hopefully that's where the other lads are. Otherwise I'll just set up the rooftop tent and douse there tonight and try and figure it all out tomorrow. That's worst case scenario, but I'm sure it'll be all good on the other side.
After a long day's drive, I finally make it to campsite, where I join the chaps and we celebrate Ed's 24th birthday.
The camp has a spectacular view of the Luvuvu, but the facilities need some work. We also haven't seen any game. These machines have certainly done some distance this year, from Ngaipan and the Makharikari to crossing the entire length of the Central Kalahari. We can only imagine where adventure will take us next. We tackle some of these sketchy roads again to explore the area. World's View turns out to be a worthwhile excursion though, and the name certainly doesn't disappoint. So we just had two guys pull into camp walking along the river. They're busy with a project here in the Makuya Game Reserve and they got stuck. So we're going to go and pull them out.
Recovering the Hilux, hasn't got any recovery points, but we're going to recover from the tow hitch, which is mounted to the chassis, not from the tow ball. So it's actually got sort of a recovery point underneath. Never snatch or winch from the tow ball. So got the recovery kit, first time using it, chuffed.
This is a Samus Electro Fisher
It takes 12 volt and converts it to 600 volts.
The Luvuvu river system is at high risk due to mining upstream, and these two gentlemen are responsible for monitoring water quality, as well as the effect that it has on the Luvuvu's fish species. They were kind enough to give us a quick tour after helping them out.
Cheers, guys. To a great trip, eh?
We set out on these tough roads again, one last time, and head for the Kruger National Park.
Second gear. Max tracks for the win.
Our final location together is at the Pafuri picnic spot, where Christoff heads off to Punda Maria, Tsenzi and Zwakala.
We at the Pafuri picnic site. We just took a coffee break, and then I'm on my way to Punda Maria, and Ryan and Ed are on their way to Tambweti.
Ed and I, we head off to Tambweti, then onwards to Jackleberry Ridge Lodge. And Ed, onwards to Sumkanda.
This truly was a great overland adventure, not only exploring the unknown out there, but also in pursuit of ourselves as well. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Until our next Overlanding Escape.
So, what have you guys thought of the trip, and if anything?
Brought to you in association with Takla Products, FlexoPower, Wild Dog 4x4.